is Ariel. Today I'm going to be interviewing Kate on the topic of pay and employment equality. So Kate, our prompt is, why is it necessary to identify what gender you are on an application for jobs that have nothing to do with your job performance, when gender has nothing to do with your job performance?
Okay.
So how are you doing today, Kate?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Pretty good. Staying hydrated?
Yeah.
So, have you ever lived through some sort of inequality because you are a girl?
Well, Ariel, I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, I had a job as a camp counselor, and all of the first-year girl counselors experienced a 35% pay wage gap from the first-year boy counselors, which we thought was quite unfair.
Yeah, that's a lot of pay. So it just shows that sometimes people don't get paid the same amount just because of their gender in the work field, which sucks and should not happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, besides that job, have you ever had a hard time applying for any other job?
I think that the job application process is quite simple and straightforward, and it doesn't require a bit of effort. But usually the application process isn't what limits you. It's the employer's decision in the end is what limits the genders.
Okay. And have you ever felt favored or unfavored for a job just because of your gender, because you're a girl?
I felt like there were less positions available to me as a girl because they already had a lot of girls applying, whereas it was evident for the boys that they didn't have a lot of boy camp counselors applying, so the standards were lower for who they were hiring, and the pay was higher to entice the male applicants, so I definitely felt out of favor in that application.
That sucks. So are there any jobs you can't see yourself personally doing because they aren't considered girls' jobs?
Of course not. Girls can do anything.
Yeah, anyone's capable of doing any job they want. So back to the prompt. So what is your opinion on stating your gender when you're applying for a job? Think it's good, think it's bad, think you should do it?
I think that in more higher class jobs where security risks are an issue, for example, a government job, that it would be necessary to state your gender. But if you're applying for more of, like, let's say a blue collar job or a position where, you know, the person's skill and ability, they don't need any credibility behind that, they can just go into the workforce without training, it shouldn't be necessary to give too much information about that person's gender.
Okay, so how is knowing the gender of their employees useful to the employer?
It's really not useful to them unless they're trying to fill some kind of quota to make sure that they are being equal to the people that they're hiring, and they are hiring equal amounts of men and women.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that in any other sense, like if they're trying to assess the skill of a potential employee based on their gender, then it's absolutely useless. That shouldn't be something you're taking into consideration.
You should be assessing their skills, not their gender. You should be making judgments off of what they can and can't do and their past and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think employers make decisions on who to hire based off the gender of their employees?
I'd like to think that they didn't, but I'm sure that the reason that we see so much sexism in the workplace and these tiny little microaggressions and everyday scenarios is because that the people who are running their businesses and the hiring personnel are being sexist towards the people that they're hiring, whether it's intentional or not.
So their gender should not be the deciding factor of whether or not they get the job.
No,
it should be their credentials.
Absolutely not. Yeah, it should be how skilled and ready you are for the job.
So do you think that this problem contributes to overall sexism in any way?
Yes, absolutely, because the young boys and girls and non-binary children are looking up to these working professionals in the workplace, and they're seeing them as role models. And if some little girl or little boy sees not like a stereotype of a man or a woman in a position that they want, they might be more or less inclined to, you know, chase after that dream in the future. So it's super duper important that we have role models that come in all genders and don't fit into any stereotypes. That way people are encouraged to pursue their dreams no matter what.
So now that we've established that sexism in a workplace is something that is present, how do we stop this type of employment discrimination?
I think that we could stop this discrimination by starting with looking at the skills of the people and just not considering gender when hiring employees. I know there's a lot of programs for like seminars talking to the employees, especially in older generations where sexism is a lot more present in the workplace. There's a lot of seminars and there's a lot of talks that happen between bosses and employees about how we should handle these microaggressions in the office. And I think that baby steps like that explaining to particularly older generations what sexism is and why we can't allow it in the workplace, and just being persistent and being patient, and keep supporting men and women to pursue their dreams and pursue their goals, and giving them equal opportunities.
Good, so we're already taking steps in the right direction. Do you think that knowing the gender of your employee is always 100% necessary?
Oh, no, absolutely not. I think that if not just for safety reasons and legal reasons, to have like the document of what their gender is, I would understand that. If you have to pay someone, then it's part of your bank statement, like this is my gender. But in terms of like, if you're an employer and you're looking at 2 stacks of applications and one of them is for men and one of them is for women, then you're definitely not doing your job right. So I think that that shouldn't be necessary for the application. It's information that your employers need to have, but it's not necessarily a part of whether you get the job or not.
So can you give me an example of a job where you think it isn't necessary to know what gender your employees are?
For example, if you're working at some sort of restaurant, if you're working in public service, anything like that, whether you're a man or a woman, you can do that job the same. You can fulfill that job to the same ability or best of your ability, either way. Basically, any job out there.
Yeah. And when would it be necessary to know the gender of your employee? Like 100% necessary, no questions about it.
I would say you have to know the gender of your employee if you're working in government or some sort of security facility. But other than that, I don't understand why you need that.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Kate. Thanks for stating your opinion, and have a nice day.